Hello and welcome to Good Morning UK. Have Your Say, a Force for Good's mid-morning show coming to you live from our nerve centre here in the heart of the great British city of Glasgow with me, your host, Alistair McConnachie. This is our 21st show and we've got a lot to speak about, and already we have had TC coming in saying good morning. Great to see you, TC, watching on YouTube. And Linda from a beautifully sunny southeast London. Yes, sunny in London. Fantastic. And Frankie, hello to Frankie. And good morning to you, Robert. I hope you're well, and nice to see Sandra in. And Adam's back from his period at work. I hope you had a good work experience, Adam. And Alan, good morning to you. And Debbie, great to see Debbie as usual. And Paul, good to hear from you, Paul. And Sandra, good morning, Alistair. And all Union supporting friends throughout our wonderful United Kingdom. And we're here to talk up the United Kingdom today, very much so, because too many people talking it down, you know, the mainstream media constantly talking it down, the morning shows on the telly constantly talking it down, and of course if you constantly talk something down, then it eventually becomes destroyed, and sometimes you wonder if that's the agenda behind the mainstream media's total pessimism on things. So we're always here to talk up the United Kingdom and to try to find the best that's going. Good morning to Margaret from New Cumnock. I know that area fairly well. Richard, good morning to Richard, and also to Tommy. And Catherine says good morning everyone. And Colin is out in the wilds by Lanark. Morning Philip and Gary. Well, this morning, what is there to talk about? Something I'm going to ask a question right now. Hi Bill. I am great today. Hope you're great today as well. A question that I want to ask, okay. Have the Scottish Nationalists destroyed the idea of Scotland as a welcoming place? You know, and I'll get to this in a moment because I want to talk about the Scottish economy and just what we sell to the world and what's good about it, and the extent to which the Scottish Nationalists and the Greens are really wanting just to bring all of that down. And one of the great exports, for it is an export, is tourism in Scotland. And people like to come to Scotland for its beautiful scenery, and but have the Scottish Nationalists destroyed it? Give you an example. There's one of the people who's been commenting on the Scottish media for years is a woman called Ruth Wishart. And she's a Scottish nationalist, and there's a whole gang of them, and they make a nice living simply talking down the rest of the United Kingdom. And they're never short of places to talk their talking downness upon. And if you want to comment to some, if you want to right, we need somebody to talk down England, who shall we comment? They've got a whole list of people that they can comment and pay money to give us the misfortune of their opinion. And Ruth Wishart's definitely one of them. And of course, the internet machine made their voice a lot louder. And Twitter especially. And last Saturday, the Saturday Telegraph had one of its supplements about beautiful things to see in Scotland. And this person, right, she tweets out, that's the last thing we need. I'll show you her tweet just so that I don't misquote her. And here it is. Here it is here. Let me just ensure that's on the screen. Can you see that? It says, just what our beautiful Isles don't need. More Tory graph readers. What a terrible thing. What a terrible thing for her to put out there. You know, basically stay away if you're a Tory. Stay away from Scotland. Well, how nasty can you get? But, you know, she's one of the top thinkers, inverted commas, in that whole Scottish nationalist field. So if that's what she's thinking and saying and tweeting in the morning, okay, even before 1 o'clock, she's tweeting that. And that's a bad lookout. So what's your thoughts on that? Have they destroyed Scotland? Scotland's welcoming reputation? I think that there is a danger that they are destroying it, basically. When businesses are threatening to leave, says Tommy, it's time to stop and think, yeah, well, and it's businesses threatening to leave and businesses never bothering to start up in the first place as well. And Ross says, it seems the Nats are building a Scotland for anyone, bar the Scottish. Nationalism, Scotland's embarrassment. And along with that, Adam, yes, what's your opinion? One of the SNP councillors, not just a member, a councillor in Glasgow, tweeted saying, don't worry Europe, we hate the UK too. That was because the UK got no points at the Eurovision Song Contest. Well, that's the sort of attitude that they have. And what's most disturbing about it is they think they can do that without censure. And when you can talk like that without censure, something's definitely wrong. But that particular person, the Rhiannon character that put that out there, she's from a family of fairly fanatical Scottish nationalists. When Rishi Sunak came to Scotland last year, her mother was the one that was shouting against him on the street. Okay, so delightful family of Scottish nationalists, that one. I haven't seen this one, Sandra. Janie Godley put a disgusting description last night on her Facebook. Everything that happens in her day-to-day life, she has a go at Unionists. She's another one that the media fet. You know, she's actually the voice of Visit Scotland. I discovered a couple of days ago they've got her narrating some advert. Crying out loud, eh? Oh, yes, it was a mini hate fest, Richard. It was a mini hate fest last week. Sandra doesn't like her for that. Yeah, you know, I bought the Sunday Herald on Sunday, and they had a supplementary magazine. It's called Luxury Scotland, which is an interesting combination of two words. And so I thought, well, let's have a look in it to see what is luxurious about Scotland. And of course there's plenty of things that are luxurious about Scotland. And this lists some of them, and of course it's mainly advertorial, but it's interesting to see what they have highlighted. And of course one of the things that they've highlighted is in fact tourism and visiting Scotland. And so that's one of the key things that they highlight here is tourism and the importance of tourism to Scotland, and the importance of these nice hotels and places where you can stay luxuriously in Scotland. Well, that's all fine and well if you have a Scottish administration that is promoting the luxury of Scotland to the people who would want to come. Do we have that right now in the Scottish National Party? No, we do not. We literally have a leader who is telling people to stay out of Scotland and not to come to Scotland, under the guise, of course, of the COVID restrictions. But that has to get lifted shortly. I'll be on to that in a minute. Another thing that we've got here is the restaurant and bistro scene, which is being promoted as luxurious in Scotland, as of course it often is. And what's a key part of that? Of course, Scottish food, specifically Scotch beef, Scotch lamb, and venison. Now, these are great Scottish exports that need to be encouraged, but we have a Scottish Green Party that has got 8, essentially, members of the Scottish Parliament. One of them is the presiding officer now. And what do they promote? They promote militant vegetarianism and veganism. So if the Scottish Green Party, and they're talking about bringing the Scottish Green Party into the actual governmental structure, we actually have a powerful Scottish Republican Nationalist Green Party that, if it had its way, it would destroy the Scottish agricultural industry. It would get rid of beef, it would get rid of lamb, it would get rid of venison, it would get rid of game, especially because it wants to ban what it calls blood sports. And so we've actually got a Scottish National Party that's against tourism, and many of its members are against people from the rest of the United Kingdom coming to Scotland. And we've got a Scottish Green Party that's against agriculture and that's against basic Scottish food exports. So what kind of economy are these people creating for us? Now, what else was luxurious here in Scotland? Well, basically tourism and food is the main themes running through this. Two industries which are directly threatened by Scottish nationalism and the Scottish Green Party's agenda. So how can anybody vote for them if you want a proper Scottish economy? And now, if you were to speak to the Greens, they would say, yeah, what we want is green jobs, right? Now, here's a thing that also appeared in the Sunday Herald. A green revolution that was blown out of all proportion. Ministers are accused of abject failure as predictions of 28,000 low-carbon jobs 11 years ago result in just 1,400. Okay? Well, I could have told them that. And this was the idea of offshore wind, which I don't really have much of an opinion on. It's certainly better than onshore wind. But they thought that the offshore wind industry would create 28,000 jobs. They thought that 11 years ago. Well, the figure as of the data just released shows it stands at 1,400. So the idea that there's a whole industry of green jobs out there waiting to be created, again, it's another Scottish Green Party fantasy. Okay? Now, renewable energy is okay at the small scale level, but renewable energy at the industrial level is in fact a contradiction in terms, and it's not something that is going to keep the lights shining and the home fires burning. And of course, talking about the home fires as well, anything to do with carbon, coal or fracking or things like that, which Scotland is rich in. Again, the Scottish Greens and the Scottish National Party don't want anything to do with that. So what exactly are they imagining the Scottish economy is going to be predicated and built upon? Oh my. Would the oil industry be under threat with the Greens? Absolutely. Completely and utterly. In fact, Stephen Daisley did a good article there just a couple of days ago in the Daily Mail, and he said, one of my ambitions in life is to dispel the myth that the Greens are nice, well-intentioned or harmless. The Greens are not nice. They are not tree-hugging idealists. They are not the Lib Dems with recycled sandals. The Greens are extreme ideologues, resentful of civilisational progress and backwards looking in a way that would get anyone else branded reactionary. He continues, their goal is not advancement, creation, development, expansion, but the hemming in of human potential. Ingenuity dismays them and alarms them. They see man as a purely destructive creature, a sinning species without redemption. Their ideology is a religion of sorts, the church of millenarium mediocrity. And to get back to the point there, quote, Patrick Harvie has called the UK government's decision to permit new oil and gas exploration as, quote, absolutely reckless. As well as banning further development licences, the Greens want to end all subsidies and tax relief for the North Sea energy sector, which supports 100,000 jobs. These are policies for ruin, not recovery. That's very well said. The Scottish Green Party are a bane upon us, and it is so sad that so many people, especially younger people who don't maybe take an interest in right or left politics, always plump for Greens because they think it's the nice, harmless version. It's not the nice, harmless version. It's the very dangerous version, led by the flowerpot man and Mrs. Flubbalub, as we're going to start calling Lorna Slater. Hey, thanks Ed, you guys are great. Greetings from Wales, fantastic. Now, people say to me, Alistair, why do you always insist on calling Patrick Harvie the flowerpot man? Okay, what's up with that? What's up with that? Well, let me explain, okay. Why do we call Patrick Harvie the flowerpot man? Now, not many people know this, but Patrick Harvie's parents disappeared in a bizarre gardening accident, and the infant Harvie was found gurgling in the vegetables one night by a reanimated family of Cabbage Patch dolls who only came alive when the sun went down. And not knowing how to raise the human baby, they did the best that they could. They did all that they knew how, which is they stuck him in a flower pot, they covered him with compost and water, and they put him on the windowsill, where he was to remain for the next 18 years of his young life. Now, as you can imagine, that took a toll, mental and physical, upon the young man, and it led to him having a dislike, especially of those school children who would mock him as he sat there in his flower pot on the windowsill, and they would run on by laughing as they went, going, Patrick Harvie lives in a flower pot, Patrick Harvie looks like a bam pot. And, you know, children can be so cruel in that way. Now, and other things, like things that we take for granted. You know, he would look out across the road at the school children at the cafe at lunchtime and he would go, Mum, why can't I have a pot noodle for lunchtime like all the normal school children? And she would go, Patrick, we're Cabbage Patch dolls. It's not for us to eat pot noodles from the cafe. It's for us to eat multi-purpose compost from the gardening centre. You know this. And he would be like, yeah, Mum, I know, but it tastes rank. Anyway, time moved on, and by the time the clock struck 18 years, his Cabbage Patch family decided that they would let him back into the world again, because it was time for him to make it on his own. So they took him out of the flower pot, they dusted him down, they gave him a pair of trousers and they said, Patrick, make sure you wear these when you're around the normal humans, okay? That's very important. And they also gave him a bicycle because obviously 18 years of living in a flower pot had taken its toll upon his legs as well as upon his height. So, unfortunately, it took a mental toll as well because he had developed in those 18 years an intense dislike of all carbon-based life forms, especially schoolchildren, and especially the humans who had condemned his young life to one of compost, water, and ridicule. And as he made his own way, he vowed that they would get their comeuppance. So that's the true story of Patrick Harvey, the Flowerpot Man, and it's why we call him the Flowerpot Man. And in his life he was to meet Lorna Slater, Mrs. Flubblub, and maybe someday we'll tell you the story about that also. So what's the time? Is it time for competition? Yes, it is. It's time for This Day in British History. Now, of course, today is the 68th anniversary of Her Majesty the Queen being crowned in Westminster Abbey in this day, the 2nd of June 1953. Her Majesty Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and of her other realms and territories, Queen, Head of the Commonwealth, Defender of the Faith, as she was crowned. God save the Queen. And we always put up this amazing good photograph of the Queen, the Cecil Beaton photograph of the Queen. That's actually a backdrop. It's not the actual abbey. It's a painting sitting behind Her Majesty the Queen, but it looks fantastic. And congratulations to her, 68 years crowned. And of course, it was the previous year, in February in 1952, when she actually became the Queen when her father died. But a year later, she was crowned on this day. Also on this day in British history, 2nd of June in 1916, a young lad, a 16-year-old lad, Jack Cornwell, was to enter into the British Pantheon of Heroes when he died of wounds sustained after demonstrating tremendous bravery during the Battle of Jutland. Jutland being just off Denmark. He had joined the light cruiser HMS Chester, and he was a sight setter for one of its guns, which was heavily involved in the Battle of Jutland on the 31st of May. And although mortally wounded, he stayed at his post, heroically waiting for orders, with, quote, just his own brave heart as protection from the heavy damage that the ship was continuing to receive. And he was carried below, but he died on this day 48 hours later in Grimsby General Hospital. And he was awarded the VC, and he was only 16 years old. And let me put up a picture of him here so we can know to whom I am referring. The boy Cornwell, as he's been called, 16-year-old VC winner on HMS Chester at the Battle of Jutland. On this day, that's him on the 31st of May, but he died on this day, the 2nd of June in 1916. God rest his soul. And he's got a memorial that was opened in East Ham's Central Park on the 5th of June 2016. Next time I'm down in London, I'm going to check that out, take a photograph of it in East Ham's Central Park. The boy Cornwell, Jack Cornwell VC, died on this day, 2nd of June 1916, at the Battle of Jutland. Now folks, if you're watching this on Twitter or on Facebook or on YouTube, please share Please retweet on Twitter. If you can retweet us with a positive comment, then we will retweet your retweet to 26,000 people. And please share on Facebook and on YouTube. Please do hit that red subscribe button, and please do subscribe, because we want to get our subscribers up on YouTube to get this message out. And we did I spoke there about the Queen, 68 years today on the throne. We did an article. We've done several articles, mainly on our legacy site. One of them is making a case for the monarchy, and we'll put the link up there. We'll put the link up there just now. And let me give you our competition. Now, here's the address to send it to. It's contact@aforceforgood.uk. The first person who can answer this question at that email address will get this tin of jelly beans, a Union Jack tin, and it's got 50 special jelly beans of different flavours. Okay, this will be winging its way to you today if you can answer this question correctly. On this day, the boy Cornwell won. He passed away 2nd of June 1916 in a naval battle just off Denmark. What was the name of the battle that Jack Cornwell was mortally wounded at and was given a VC for? Okay, what was the name of the battle that the boy Cornwell was mortally wounded at? And it's important to always remember those sacrifices from another age. Stuart says he met Her Majesty in Balmoral. That's good. I'm just going. We have a good team behind us here. It's not just me here. It's not just me here. So there's people responding on the comments from our Facebook team that is helping me to do this. So thanks to them for doing that. Now, I'm just going to just contact them there. Yeah, good. Very good. God save the Queen. Aye, Richard says, is that picture from actually Look and Learn? It might have been, but it's actually it's a genuine painting, but it may have appeared in the Look and Learn magazine, which was around in the 1970s. Yeah. Now, Adam says something I totally concur with. Adam, we need the entire population of Scotland, at least the majority of them, to subscribe and follow at A Force for Good and at our YouTube page, because we're putting out such fantastic stuff, and educational stuff as well. Absolutely, that's absolutely true, Adam. You know, one of them is Patrick Harvey and the other is Mrs. Fulubbalub. Christopher liked that one. The story of Wee Patrick is the story of our times. So yeah. What I want to speak about Glasgow. Glasgow is going into level 2 now. Okay, from Friday, Glasgow's going into level 2. Because those of you who didn't know, Glasgow was getting some kind of severe lockdown, really, although you wouldn't know it. The only reason you would know something's funny is going on is because so many people are wearing masks on public transport and in shops, and that's the reason why we know that there's something going around, because masks are what sustain the appearance that there is something out there. Okay, so going into level 2 won't make any difference to people's sense of fear. What would make a difference is if Sturgeon or whoever, or Johnston and the rest of them, stood up and said, you no longer need to wear masks and we're getting rid of the whole mask thing. Because it's the mask thing that keeps the image of disease around. And this was pointed out to me very well in this book, which I'm working through. I spoke about it last week, and the lady who wrote this, Laura Dodsworth, says, Once we were wearing masks, it became about social control, because it turned out they reinforced a feeling of abnormal threat and stimulated fear. That's so true. That's so true. So we're going into level 2, and I don't exactly know what level 2 means. I think it means that you can now walk backwards from Glasgow to Clydebank, provided you don't do it on the motorway. I think it means that you can now dance the Highland Fling with a dwarf, provided he is smaller than 3 feet 11. Things like that, you know. I need to check though. But for me, I'm just trying to continue my life as much as possible. Very concerned about the shops now, the big shops in Glasgow, how they're going to survive. I do hope that they can. Who knows though, because this has been going on for so long and it's been changing people's attitudes on things. But anyway, enough about that. But that's level 2 coming up. Let me just bring up a comment here that somebody's just sent. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that. So what I want to move on to now is quite an important thing as far as we are concerned. And I'm sorry that we don't have a guest this week, okay? Don't have a guest. If you know anybody who would like to appear on the programme and who's got something to say, please do contact us and please do tell us, and we will approach that person. And we've got a good team here of people who are happy to appear, but I'm always trying to find new faces. And so if you know a new face who would like to come on and say a few things around the sort of thing that we talk about, then please do tell us. PBC says they've downloaded the State of Fear book. That would be as an ebook, and working your way through it. Good. Well, tell us what you think of it, please, PBC. And Alan says it's going to take years to fully recover for small businesses. That's right. And it's also going to take years for the NHS to catch up as well. And that's a real concern also, because with the backlog of material, can the NHS now, is it strong enough to actually work through the backload of material and the backload of cases? You know, because it always just existed, you know, day to day. But now with a massive backload, is it going to be able to survive that? What's going to have to happen? There is going to have to be changes. In fact, I noticed that the British government was thinking that as part of their efforts to support the union, they were going to make it a lot easier for people in Scotland to seek NHS treatment in England, which is something that should always have been a fact anyway, but it takes these things to make you realise that it wasn't a fact. But I think that's a really good idea, and I noticed that in the front cover here, front page of the Sunday Telegraph. Billions for Scots as Prime Minister bids to save Union. And in it, some good ideas were advocated. One of them being that The Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, is working on plans to help the NHS in Scotland with a backlog caused by the COVID crisis to treat patients in hospitals in England. Well, that makes perfect sense. And if it's a truly British NHS, then that's what it should always be anyway. It should be that reciprocity. So that should be made as easy as possible so that a hospital that's got excess capacity in one area can fill in for a hospital in another area. That makes perfect sense. And so that's something that should definitely be getting worked on. And a few other good ideas here as well. One of them, this is about how to make the union stronger, okay? And we'll sum it up. Here's how you make the union stronger. The union is like a family. You make it stronger by doing more things together and less things apart, okay? You do more things together, and the more things you do together, the more likely you are to bond. And the more likely it is that that will become a stronger bond. That's how you build any union. You do more things together and less things apart. And one of the problems with devolution has been it has accelerated the tendency to do more things apart. And that's led us apart. Inevitably so. So what you need to do is you need to do more things together. So anything that you can do politically or socially or culturally together will help to cement the bonds of the union. And these include lots of little things. For example, there's not one thing that you can do which is going to solve all the problems of separatism. I'm going to read you a wee quote here. And this is from an article that we wrote. Quote, "No one policy or event is going to solve the problems of separatism. However, over time, things can be nudged in the right direction by policies and events. Things like this may be a little thing in the grand scheme of things, but it is all the little things that the British government is not doing or not encouraging which creates the big problem of separatism and which allows it to dominate." And that's a quote from Richard, actually, that we included in our article, which we'll put up, Time for a British National Flagship. Because that was also one of the policies suggested in this article here. And green light for HMS Prince Philip to fly the flag for Britain. Now, we've been talking about a national flagship for years, since 1997 actually. I've been talking about one. And certainly since AFFG was established in 2012, we've been talking about it. And now it looks like it might become a reality. But what we're very strong on, now remember, we're very strong monarchists, but we do not want this to be called a royal yacht, because that is branding it inappropriately for the modern age. What we want it to be called is a national flagship. You can sell a national flagship to the public. Trying to sell a royal yacht when the entire media is against you is going to be a very difficult ask, but it's a lot easier to sell a national flagship if you just call it that rather than a royal yacht that can be used, a national flagship that can be used by the royal family as and when, but that has lots of other uses, diplomatic uses and educational uses. And in our article, Time for a National Flagship, we basically spoke about all the different possibilities that it could be used for. It could be even sailed around the country, and the British government could hold cabinet meetings on it. It could dock at ports throughout Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales and England, and you could have cabinet meetings on it. It could be used as a floating history ship. It could be used for school children to visit and to learn about the British history, and it should be made in, a bit of it should be made in every part of the United Kingdom, and bits of it should come from every part of the United Kingdom. Okay, it's a great idea. It's a great article that we wrote, and it kind of looks like from this article in the Telegraph that it's those ideas have been taken note of. Those ideas have been taken note of. And it's to have a use to project the very best British characteristics to people all over the world and produce significant tangible and intangible contributions to the British economy. So that would be great if that happened. Another thing that's in this here, which we've been talking about for a while, is student exchange visits. Scottish children going to schools in England, English children coming to schools in Scotland, and also increasing the rail network throughout Scotland, and also paying for students to study in different parts of the United Kingdom. And these are all things that we put in our wee book for the Union. All things help school children appreciate the UK, number 20 here. We can help school children understand the UK through school visits to Westminster and school visits from Westminster when educators can visit your school. We can encourage exchange visits between schools and school visits to significant sites of British heritage. That's in our wee book for the Union, and that's only a £5, and it's a great wee work of art. And it tells a wee story about Britain, the nation. So please do check that out as well. And we sell copies regularly on that one. And here's something as well, just continuing what I was saying. We want to develop that policy theme into a 36-page magazine, which is going to be packed with ideas to do more together, to build the bonds of the United Kingdom. And we're working on it right now, but it's going to cost a little pretty penny to publish. So we are aiming to complete the publication of it by July at the latest. But we really do need to find additional monthly Union supporters to help make this additional expenditure possible. Okay, and last week I said that we were starting a new campaign to find 50 new monthly donors. And that's people who pay upwards of £5 a month to our organisation, which works out at £1.15 a week. And we set the goal of 50 new subscribers, and so far we've had 7, so that averages out at 1 a day. And if we can continue that, we'd be very happy. So if you'd like to support the work that we do here, then please do become a Union supporter, and we'll put the link up there for that. That's a monthly donor, and you'll get an automatic subscription to our magazine. You'll also get a free copy of the 36-page magazine if you request it, and you'll also get a wee badge, a wee Union Heart badge as well if you request that too. And you'll also get an invite to our Union Social event, which will happen again when that is allowed to happen again. If it is allowed to happen again. Let's hope it is allowed to happen again. So that's something that you can really do. People say, what can I do to help? If you can, please become a Union supporter. It's only £5 a month, and we really do need that extra support, especially if we are to get this 36-page magazine published by the summer. And there's evidence, as I've just pointed out to you there, in these newspaper articles, that our ideas are getting through, because believe me, we do send copies of our wee book to these opinion formers and to all of the MPs who need to know, and we'll definitely be sending copies of our 36-page magazine. Our special policy edition will also be sending to them as well. Now, Bill makes a good point, and this is how other people can just help the United Kingdom. We should all buy flagpoles on Amazon and get our flags flying. I see saltires over the place on poles and yes flags. The thing about the Scottish Nationalists is they always like to tell you about it. You know, they're like little children. They've always got to tell you that they've got something that they want to show you, like their new yes sticker or whatever that they stick on their car. You know, they've always got to tell you about it, whereas people who believe in the Union are much more reserved about those things. But for those of you who like flying flags, definitely, just you can buy flagpoles off the internet, and you can buy flags off the internet and absolutely get them up there. And it's always good to see the Union Jack flying in Scotland. So if you're the sort of person that likes to do that, by all means go ahead, because it does help to remind people that the United Kingdom exists. Adam says about the tunnel, we're going to come out, Adam, and say that we don't agree with a tunnel or with a bridge because it's just an unnecessary expenditure, and the only people who benefit from that will be the Republic of Ireland. Okay, they'll be the only people who benefit from it, and they won't have paid a penny to it. So, and the volume of traffic anyway is fairly low going across one way or the other, really. So what is better is simply improving the ferry services and also improving the roads from Stranraer through to the rest of Scotland. That's where the money can be spent on, and in fact we also stated that here in number 15. We said reinstate the railway line between the Stranraer to Dumfries to improve Northern Ireland's connection with the mainland, and reinstate the Troon to Belfast ferry. Those sorts of things can be done. If the government's got billions of pounds to spend, it shouldn't be spending it on a tunnel or on a bridge. I mean, that's just it's not something that we would support, I'm afraid. I think it'd be a complete misallocation of resources. That's the phrase I'm trying to find. But I like the idea of connecting Northern Ireland with the mainland, but there's other ways to do it, which can be powerful also. I'm just going to contact the team here. Derek says he's already got a Union flag up. Tremendous stuff. Sandra says there's plenty of flags out your way. You've got yours in the rear garden. Excellent stuff. Good to know. Is that in the central Scotland area, I'm presuming? And car stickers are good, and clothing like the AFFG t-shirts, that's also true. We've got Teespring store where we have our Scottish and British range, our AFFG range, British Ulster range, Welsh and British range, British and Proud on t-shirts and on hoodies, and we'll put the link up there as well. Alan's got one up as well. Fantastic. This is great to hear. There's our Teespring store is up there in the comments. Now, Sandra's saying, have you thought about the stars option on the live feeds? Sandra, I don't know what you mean by that. If you could possibly direct message the page or leave a message here. Bill makes a good point. £10 a month works out at approximately $2.50 a week there. Yeah, it's less than one coffee a week from the shops. And thank you, Bill, for the support that you give. And we run very frugally here. very frugally indeed, to an extent that would astonish people if they knew the real facts. So what we can say is that the bang for your buck goes extremely far. You get a very good bang for your buck with a force for good. Extremely good bang for your buck. Absurdly so, and with a great team behind us on the Facebook page, a great Twitter team, great video editing people, and a really good team on Instagram as well. And we've also got our political outreach department as well that sends the magazines and sends the books to the people that need to read them, or at least know about them. Sandra's saying the stars thing is a donation link. On YouTube, we will check if we're monetized. Is that on YouTube that you're referring to Sandra? Or is it on Facebook? Catherine says, have a look at the Gets page for star donation. Alistair, stars are a way Facebook gets donations for you. People buy the stars. Okay. That's new. Didn't know about that. Thanks for that. The Gers page has a star system. Okay, we'll have a look at that today, and we'll figure out if we are qualified, if we're able to monetize in that way, because sometimes Facebook have various requirements, but we should probably fit those requirements. Yeah. Well, here, who won the competition? Let me just go on and find out where we are with the competition. Yes, we do have a winner. We've got several winners. Now, I'm going to just put up the winner here. I'll just write this in. Pleased to see this person has won it. And the question that I asked for this tin of jelly beans was, on this day, the 2nd of June 1916, the boy Jack Cornwell died from wounds that he had suffered. And it was at the Battle of Jutland, which was a major World War I naval battle off Denmark, at the Battle of Jutland. And Evelyn Bell won. Congratulations, Evelyn. Congratulations. You were first on the buzzer with the correct answer. There were several correct answers. Thank you to everybody who came in there. Evelyn was the quickest on the buzzer. So congratulations to you, Evelyn. Now, could you please send us your address by that email, and we'll get that out in the post to you today. So congratulations to Evelyn for that. And Robert says, well done, Evelyn. Alan says, well done, Evelyn. You just missed out, Alan. Catherine says, congratulations, Evelyn. As does Tommy say, congratulations, Evelyn. Duncan says, congratulations, Evelyn. Sandra says, Bill says, nice one. And Tommy Scott, well done, Evelyn. Congratulations. Lots of congratulations coming in for Evelyn, who is a first-time winner on the show. Good. So send us your address. We'll get that sent straight out to you. Now, if you're watching on Twitter, please retweet this with a positive comment, and we will then be able to retweet your comment to 26,000 people, which is a way of you getting new followers also. And if you're on Facebook, please click the share button and let's get this around, because we talk a lot of good stuff, a lot of interesting material, and there's not exactly anybody else out there doing this on this particular theme, which is keeping the United Kingdom together, because that's something that it's about. It's not about saving some sort of nebulous union. You know, the union is the United Kingdom. Saving the union is saving the United Kingdom. Okay, it's one and the same thing. It's about the nation continuing to exist. The nation that has existed for hundreds of years, that's been coming together for thousands of years. It's about that continuing to exist politically in the world. I mean, that's something that is so important for everybody to know about. It's not like there's going to be a United Kingdom left. If Scotland broke up, that would be the end of the United Kingdom. Everybody would have to start again. I mean, that's how serious this matter is. Okay, so we're at the cutting edge here of trying to save the country. So those of you who do appreciate it, please, I thank you. I thank you for everything that you do to support us. And if you're looking to find a way to support us, then the best way is to become a union supporter as a monthly donor for as little as £5 a month. And we need to get that up. Last week we started a new campaign at 50. We're now at 43. So hopefully by this time next week, we'll be a lot closer to getting the 50. Okay, so please do fire in your support there. Thank you for that. The union is us, says Richard, the British people. And Sandra says it would be goodbye to our NHS. Certainly would. Aye, good stuff. Good stuff, folks. That's the hour up. It went very quickly. Hopefully we'll have a guest next week. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Some good hard comment there about how the SNP and Greens are destroying our Scottish economy, and also some good comment about how to keep the United Kingdom together. It's very simple. Do more things together. Do more together. That's how you support and build any kind of union. That's what a union is about. It's about enjoying the benefits which accrue from working together in common association. Sandra says, thank you for a great live. Well, thank you for watching, Sandra, and thank you for all your support. And great to see that flag flying. I'm sure it looks very lovely. If anybody wants to send photographs of their flags flying, send them to our Facebook page, and we'll put them out there. We'll put them out there because they always get lots of likes. They always get lots of likes. Richard says, God bless and have a good week, Alistair, and the same to you. Catherine says, thank you, a force for good. Christopher says, thank you for your great show this morning, and thank you, Christopher, for everything that you do. And same to Tommy as well. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Team AFFG, all the people who are behind in the back rooms making all this happen, because it's not just me here. We do have a great team that we've built up since we've been going for the last 9.5 years. So folks, have a good afternoon to you all. And Sandra says, thank you for cheering us up today too. Yeah, always try to do that, Sandra. Okay folks, it just remains for me to say, God bless the United Kingdom, and God save the Queen. See you next week.